It intended to be a compilation video up until this point, January 19, 2026, with Western Express, for the purpose of becoming a 1 degree better driver. And there's nothing wrong with maintaining a personal interest, but I have a personal interest in my CDL. And so I cannot turn the adaptive speed control on. And I wanted to make a notice of that additionally. I can show here, and I'll set it back down. Every one of the sensors is on. This truck's been taken in. I don't know if they just overlooked it, but the interlock has never worked. They didn't get it fixed. Adaptive speed control goes out almost every trip. I have to reset the main one, which then resets the tablet. Western took off my personal conveyance. I'm a Catholic. I believe I have to go to Mass once a week at least. I used to go every day. I've cut it back to once or twice a week. They took away my personal conveyance. So when I bobtail, which I can do, like I did this past weekend, left the trailer at Walmart with Walmart pallets, put a lock on the kingpin, went to Mass, came back, and triggered the e-logs as if I was working. Because the way that they've got it set up, don't give administrative capacity, and I don't have the time to call 3 or 4 times a week and talk to 3 or 4 different people, whether it's Sean in safety, Liz in logs, Steve in logs, or Mike. I don't mind. I like them. There's no problem. But these glitches, I should not have to be reporting. Same glitch, same problem. So I keep paper logs. They've run me loads. I met with a guy named Nelson who used to be lease purchase, quote, owner operator, but he's now company. He's making low minimum industry, but he's making at least industry. I'm so far under the industry standards, that's absolutely ridiculous. And yet they're not competent enough to realize they can't put this blame on me. This is their agreement. Because as a West Pointer, former Army football player, I've run every load that could be on time, was on time. That's the reason I'm making this video, because sometimes details end up getting forgotten. So I just want to make sure it's all out there on the front end. And up until this point, I've had 4 defective trailers. Assigned in here is active and available, okay? I've only had 1 load assigned each time. So it's load to load to load. I got to get 1,500 miles to break even. Some weeks I hardly even get that amount of mileage, and wait time, which is excessive in places where it's cold. So I have to run my diesel during wait time to stay warm. So their agreement, in a sense, is a bait and switch. They have signed the short, crappy loads to lease purchase people, either running them off after taking from them in effective 2 to 6, 8 weeks worth of wages, or they switch over and become company. These are facts. I was in law for 30 years, practiced as a trial lawyer for 15 years, including representing the Chief Justice of the state of Alabama for 7. So I know a little bit about the law, and I know a lot about driving vehicles, pulling trailers and trucks privately and as an individual, and a little bit about it as a truck driver. I'm learning more. I'm 1 year into it. Basically, as of this month, 2 years experience, hot shot trucking, and about 20 years experience with just pulling trailers generally. So this is a racket to the extent that the owner-operator agreement does not allow me to make an industry minimum profit and or breach a contract without a dispute. So a racket would be a fraud. Breach of contract is the truck is not to snub. The planners, 3 visits with my kids. First visit left in York, Pennsylvania. I asked him to get me 4 miles. Second visit left in Statesville, North Carolina. Asked to get to 4 miles. So we'll see how it goes on the third one. The first one, I'm not going to chalk out against them, but I've been down there 3 times, and none of the loads on the drop end of it have been in Florida or Georgia, and they could have been. On the way back, I picked up a load in Brooksville, so I know that they could have dropped me one down there. So either the planner or the agent is breaching their minimum duty in those regards. And the planner or the agent twice has been extremely immature, unprofessional, disrespectful. Once called me while I was parked outside Mass, asking me what I was doing in downtown Nashville in between loads. And this load was a 19-mile load. Now, when I got signed a 19-mile load, which I can't make any money on, I was like, $8, and I have to hook and drop twice. He's calling me, asking me about going to church. Then an email to me saying the reason I was losing money is because I went home. Well, from York, PA to go home with 2 prior messages of notice that they just totally disregarded, any of that loss, sure, yeah, I ate decent going home, but I should have made enough money well in advance of the industry minimum standard to have been able to pay for it, number one. Number two, y'all should have let me drop somewhere that could have made you money in the Georgia and the Florida area. But you breached on your duties in that, yet you want to somehow turn and blame me for wanting to go see my children. So that's kind of nonsense, this real insanity that I can't continue to deal with, because I have to make sure my time is guarded and protected because I answer to courts and actual reasonable, responsible adults. 4 defective trailers. First one, can't blame Western, not trying to, don't really care. I just want to do my job, doing well by the SOP, and if it's not a standard procedure, I want to do what a reasonably prudent truck driver would do in the alternative. But somebody had busted the wheel, probably a dock worker. I got assigned that trailer. That's actually the second. The first one I took to that same site. The trailer of Western, I had the back threshold piece was up. Sometimes that happens, that's general maintenance. So I spent 2 hours without pay driving to Love's, getting it fastened back down, driving it back. Then when I hooked to the assigned trailer, before I did, I noticed that the dock worker, somebody had busted the entire rim. So I spent another 3.5 hours waiting for somebody to come and change that rim out on the assigned trailer. So that was 2 trailers that were defective. One because of lack of maintenance from Western, truth be told. Should have been picked up in an inspection, not just a sticker slap on something. Look at the points that you're supposed to look at of wear and tear. The second, because some dock worker didn't say anything. You know, it happens. But I was under the impression I was in true hook and drop. That was the scenario for it. 2 defective trailers. Third defective trailer. Thought I was going to be able to get a load to North Georgia, but the trailer that I was assigned to pick up from Western had a rusty tank. I think literally, and it's still sitting there, and it's all in the documentation. It's so rusted I could have pushed my fist through it and busted the tank if I chose to after I discovered it. But I heard a little bit of air, which is kind of normal, but it rolled, and I looked, and it was, of course, this tank's kind of hidden under it. But after I got going, the driver pointed out that the back right tire of the trailer was blocking up. So it's dragging. What had happened is it would hold 110 pounds of pressure if you stopped. Once you get going a little bit, 5 or 10 miles an hour, where that rust is, there's 2 slits, and it lets enough air out that it locks that back tire up. So I had messaged him in advance. I need to be going towards Florida at 10 o'clock, come hell or high water. This is about 11:15 after I thought I'd got a good trailer. And no, it was not a good trailer, it was defective. Now, Western just has a big staff, and so then they have one of the team guys call me. And at this point, I had already backed it up because it had been an hour. I did my best to try to rework the way the glad hands were and drive it slow to see if I could get to Lowe's, which was about 20 minutes away. And they'd take about 2 to 4 hours to repair it. But long story short, I just backed it all the way back exactly to the same distributor or vendor that we have on the side lot where other trailers, empty trailers were, and left it. Drove straight to my kid visit. Fast I could get there, sleeping, driving. Had 2.5 hours of sleep. Saw them. Got there 12, 15 minutes late. So I can't do any more. I can't do any better. I'm doing the minimums. Good's good enough. People are setting me up for failure. I'm not going to let my CDL be affected. I'm not going to listen to a fake broker who's never driven a truck, who doesn't get good loads, who has no idea what he's talking about, doesn't fulfill their end of the agreement. It's lies. It's what a child or someone that's immoral would do. And if you continue to tolerate it, then might have proven it, then you become one of the ones in the conspiracy to steal from drivers who are just getting their start. So I'm not going to tolerate that. My name is Trenton Rogers Garman. Today's January 19th, 2026. So I'm taking this vehicle to the pilot. I'm going to get my shower in. If they sent me a load, good. If they haven't, I'm heading back towards Nashville to see if I can get this thing fixed I want to finish my 180-day agreement because I'm on the Army retraining program. It helps me with the CDL. School assigned me an Army CDL mentor, and I want to finish a contract and do it right. They're betraying the minimums, and I'm not going to be mocked and made fun of, and otherwise set up for scandal when I'm doing my part. And this company got sued for this 10 years ago in California, paid over $1 million, and I should be expecting industry minimums when I'm doing the job and reasonable loads to make that kind of money so I can go see my kids. That is what it is. So peace be with you, Trucking with Trentissimo. Those things are all true and just and right. Hope to make them a better company. I'm not going to have my minimums eaten into anymore by theft and deception, including time waiting. I'm grateful for the training. There ain't not one person at that company, whether it is Liz and Log, Sean and Safety. Ooh, that's a big gentleman on that board. Tony, Tiffany, Lindsay, Chad, Josh, Chad Wiseman, Hayden, Smokehouse, Maureen, the Double Dog hat on, Lisa. I love all these women. I talked to Catherine, one of the drivers, Shelly, a driver, Mark, the driver, smokes a pipe, Latasha. I have no problem with anybody personally. So ain't about that. Ain't about that. I'll make it like it is. I want to be the best truck driver I can be with good teams. Let's get better.